Do you want an easier way to maintain data between step functions transitions? Hi, I'm Eric Johnson, Principal Developer Advocate at AWS. Developers tell us that when using AWS Step functions, they want an easier way to pass data from task to task, or more importantly, from a task way up at the top to maybe one way down at the bottom without having to maintain that data through each transition. Well, I'm excited to say that that's now possible with Step functions workflow variables. Workflow variables add the ability to assign and reference variables in the ASL, which is also known as the Amazon States language. It supports both JSON path and JSONata. Now, I may have thrown a new term at you there. If you're not familiar with JSONata or Step Functions JSONata support, check out the companion video that I've linked below in the comments that talks all about the new feature where we actually use JSONata in Step Functions. Throughout the rest of this video, I'll be using JSONata to show the demos. So let's get into the demos. When you want to assign a variable, you actually use a new object in the Amazon States language called assign. And in here you can see the example where I need the old owner. I'm assigning it and I'm using JSONata to states.input.oldowner. I'm doing the same for new owner, and I'm assigning the table. So I've got old owner, new owner, and table. Now, when I want to reference this, I use a specific syntax. The syntax is a $sign and the variable name. No extra characters, no extra spaces. So unlike before, we're not going to do $dot or something like that. We're just going to say, and you can see the example here, when I need table name, I'm going to use the JSONata wrappers. I'm going to say $sign table, and down below you can see $sign old owner, and that assigns them there. Now, something to understand is the actual workflow evaluation order, meaning when do I assign variables and what's the data, what's the context of the data at that point. The most important thing to understand is variables can be assigned after the task or sub workflow have been run. And that means that the root data that you get at that $sign is going to be the output of the actual task. Now, that also means that if I have one task and I assign a variable in that, that variable is not going to be available in that same task, but it will be available in tasks further down. And that brings me kind of to the next topic, which is scoping. And how does scoping work when we talk about variables? Now, Step Functions has the concept of scopes. In fact, it has an outer scope, which is your root workflow, and then you have child scopes, which might be an inline map or distributed map or parallel or choice. Now, if I assign something in the outer scope, it's available in most of the child scopes. It's going to be available in a choice, it's going to be available in a parallel, it's going to be available in an inline, but it's not going to be available in a distributed map because that actually goes to another or sub-step function, which is outside the scope. The second concept we have here is a concept of a sibling scope. And this means that within like a choice or parallel or inline map, something that has branches, I can assign a variable in a task, maybe in the left side and in branch 1, it will not be available in the right side or in branch 2. However, it will be available in subsequent tasks in the original branch of that child. The second thing to understand is that that variable will not be available in the outer scope. A child scope cannot pass a variable to the outer scope, but the outer scope can pass a variable to the child scope. So those are the limitations on that. Okay, so that's been a quick overview of step function workflow variables. We talked about assigning, we talked about referencing, and then the scope and how they work. If you haven't checked it out yet, I do encourage you to check out the JSONata video for step functions, again, that I linked down below. If you'd like to see more videos like this, be sure and subscribe. Again, I'm Eric Johnson, Principal Developer Advocate at AWS. We'll be talking to you later.